Hey, this is Matt once again. What about the video is another paid request. This time for Edward. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for 2 more episodes of South Park. This time in Season 15, Episodes 6 and 7. And both, I had some enjoyment out of. I got some chuckles out of. Although I'm seeing a pattern, which I'll get to, where either they do a lot of this where they'll set something up that either could be interesting or definitely changes the game a bit in terms of a character or in terms of situation, but then they don't want to follow through and then they just go back to square one. And I think when you get to like season 15, it's like it's okay to change it up a bit, but on the flip side, South Park is still fairly successful, so I guess maybe they had a point to it, I don't know. But okay, episode 15 starts with Postman. It's a Butters episode, which already is a positive thing, since I've said many times Butters has become my favorite character on the show because of the way the character's voiced and the mannerisms, and he just seems so innocent compared to the other kids and so endearing. So he gets in these crazy situations, you feel much more sorry for him, and then when he says something so out of the blue, it just comes off that much more funny because of that type of character. But he's being a kid, he's being a postman, he's delivering mail to people, including to the City Walk, the Chinese restaurant, and the guy who is a racial stereotype. That's the whole point, is that he's got the look and the voice. Instead of City Walk, Shitty Walk. But there's a new sushi place opening up, and he gets pissed off about that. Your shitty sushi, this is my shitty walk. So that guy's pissed off at the new guy opening their sushi restaurant, Japanese restaurant. So I guess Butters started an Asian turf war that the cops get mad at him and they tell his parents. And God, Butters' parents are like the worst people ever. I wish there's, I hope or wish there was an episode that they did their comeuppance, and I don't know, get an alien fries their ass, or they get beamed up into a black hole or something. Because the Butters' parents are the absolute most unlikable, some of the most unlikable characters on this entire show. I hate Butters' parents. Just a... Or you know what? Have them become, what was the Time Bandits? Have one of those damn crazy rocks and have them evaporate and exasperate and just explode. They have Butters on his own. He would do better on his own than with these shitty parents. But anyway, the parents take him to a doctor, and the doctor thinks he has multiple personality when instead he's just an imaginative kid. He wants to be an astronaut or a fireman or a spy or a trucker, like with CB radio. He's just being an imaginative kid, but the doctor, maybe it's a take on how some people get falsely prescribed certain afflictions when they don't really have it. Maybe it's a take on that. Of course, Butters does not have multiple personality, but in fact the doctor himself does. And the doctor himself has multiple upon multiple personalities. And Butters keeps getting confused and doesn't know what's going on. He's even at a point that he sets up a camera in his own room, a la Paranormal Activity, which had come out around this time. And Butters watches back. He sees that the doctor came in and pissed on him and beat him up. Until ultimately he confronts the guy. And you come to find out that one of his personalities is the City Walk. So the Chinese restaurant guy that you've seen in a lot of episodes, he's not really Chinese. He is a white guy who has a multiple personality, and one of them is a racially stereotyped Chinese character. Now, granted, they also have another stereotyped character, the sushi guy, but he's only in this one episode. And there's a fun banter between the two where they both talk about a treaty, but they both keep saying the word Tweety. One doesn't understand the other, even though they're talking the same way. Tweety, what's a Tweety? No, it's a Tweety. No, 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 that's not how you say it. Tweety. The fuck is a Tweety? It's just making fun of the whole stereotype thing. I did find that pretty funny. I thought that was entertaining. But it's almost as if they know these are stereotypes, and I guess they felt bad, and now they're trying to almost retcon all this. They did that episode with Token, the black kid, and it's like, that's not my name. You guys thought my name was Token the whole time? Are you crazy? Same with here, as if they were doing these crazy jokes back to the day, whether to be edgy or whatever, and then it's like, oh man, you know what, it's low hanging fruit or whatever their thinking is, so we need to find a way to explain it or find a way to reinterpret it. I don't know if it's just them being like, hey, we're bored, or we don't have any ideas, let's just do it this way, or that was egregious on their part. I don't know their line of thinking. So ultimately, Butters does get the help of the police, and they do stop the guy. Although, spoiler alert, the Japanese guy still jumps off. He said, no, this is racial stereotyping. Because of, he was dishonored, so he has to kill himself. But then after he jumps, he's like, no, this is racial stereotyping. And so the guy is caught, but then they're like, well, actually, we don't let him go. And, you know, it should calm down because there's no other Asian restaurants around the bend. And before he's let go, they do like a cycle ending where, look where you hit the fly. So that's the thing, is that, you know, they bring all this up, but then they go, well, we're just going to let him go, and he's going to be that guy, and we're just going to forget this ever happened. So it's like, okay, well, that almost reminds me of the Simpsons episode with Skinner, where he found out Skinner wasn't really Skinner, he was another guy, he was another character, and he pretended to be Skinner, and then at the end of the episode, the whole town says, oh, you know, we're just going to forget about this, and make it seem like none of it happened. I know, the Simpsons did it, the Simpsons did it. That's not what I'm getting at, it's just, I guess just a one-time episode and it'll be quickly forgotten. But it's, at the same time, even if I had some fun in a goofy way, that character. But now, anytime I see that character, it's like, oh, well, he's just a white guy. I don't, I don't really find that more interesting. Maybe it does for other people, but I don't really find that more interesting. Well, it's a white guy pretending to be an Asian guy. I don't know if they ever bring that up again. I mean, there's like, I don't know, 30 seasons of the show, or at least 20 some, so, again, for people who are more in the know, do they bring that up ever back into the future of the show? Is there anything else they do with that? But it's like, okay, well, you bring it up, and it's, the more enjoyable aspects of the show was Butters, what he's going through, his confusion, what's going on, his interactions, the voice acting on Butters. I just his complete confusion of these multiple personalities. Like there's a point where the doctor wants him to break into this vault, and then when he changes another person, what are you doing? And then Butters kind of looks. He's still got the thing over his head to not burn his face, and just his voice of, huh? What are you talking about, huh? It's just such an innocence to that character that, to repeat myself, just makes it endearing. And as much as a stereotype as it is, I will say the City Walk guy at times can be rather funny in that. But I don't know, again, maybe this is their way of trying to explain away that stereotype of, well, it's some crazy guy that thinks that way. Or something like that, I don't know. But like I said, did I really think that the twist was interesting? Not really. But that's just me. I think a lot more could have been done with the paranormal activity stuff as well, with the cameras. I mean, it's only one scene. I don't know, maybe if the whole, I don't know, Maybe if there's more scenes like that. But I guess they already did that in the one episode where it was a bit like Cloverfield and Randy is holding all this stuff. So I guess they already did that bit. But overall, because of Butters, and so I did not mind the episode. I did have some fun with it. And then episode 7 was very interesting. Because Stan has his 10th birthday, and his mom saw the CD that he got, and she takes it away saying, "You're not listening to that crap." And it's sort of the old versus young, where they do it, of course, in a way where there's actual shitting and farting, where people are listening. I think it's called tween wave, which I never heard that term before. If the parents are listening to what the kids like, they just hear a bunch of farting and shitting. But if the kids hear it, they just hear the music. And it's the vice versa. The parents go, "No, this is real music." And when the parents hear it, you just hear the regular music. But when the kids hear it, they hear a bunch of farting and shitting. Thus the term, "that sounds like crap." It sounds like shit. Only literally. So I thought, I mean, as juvenile as it is to hear farting and shitting, and I'm not into that stuff, I thought at least here's done in a bit of a clever way, with the making that phrase sound like shit to be literal, and that bit of how if you get older, things could change. Older, the younger it doesn't seem. Which there is some truth to that, to be fair. Only Stan, he's got in the switch where he's much more cynical. So turns into me, pretty much. That's kind of why I looked at. Well, Stan turns into me. That's pretty much what I looked at. Stan turns into me. But not as bad because despite what people think, there's actually a couple stuff I do like in the new age. Like this year, talked about movies. I did like Creed 3. I did like Missing, which is kind of a sequel to Searching. There's a couple movies I didn't mind. Super Mario Brothers, I did not mind that film, among others. But here, everything Stan looks at sounds and looks like crap. And completely cynical. So, well, you're the doctor's like, okay, here's like shit in the microwave, and here's Kevin James' zookeeper, which is which, and the kid looks, they look the same. Which, I mean, he's right. Kevin James, the zookeeper is pile of shit. Or he doesn't even like hearing what people are saying, so when people are talking, then they start farting out of their mouth, and then that was a bit much. I think the movies and music that was fine enough. The least favorite part was the stuff with Randy. Because Randy tries to be cool with the kids, but when he's hearing the kids' music, he hears it, but he denies it. But I will say, it does lead to something interesting, and that's what I thought was the most intriguing part of the episode. Randy tries to be hip and cool, and he even tries to make a band, and it doesn't work out. Some rednecks are, he's shitting his britches. We need to save them britches. So I did laugh when there's just a point where these two yokels sneak into the house to save the britches, save the pants. But then it starts getting a bit more interesting where it goes from Stan and his friends don't really want to be around him because he hates every single little thing. It's not that, he's... Even I like a couple stuff, believe it or not, people. Like these episodes. But the other kids don't want to be around him, as Stan's like, okay, fine, you pick a movie, I promise I won't complain. And the movie they picked is X-Men First Class on the marquee, and the music's like dun dun dun, and I'm like, oh shit. I think even Stan looks up and goes, oh shit. Which is kind of funny because X-Men First Class was a film a lot of people liked, except me and my friends. We didn't like it. We thought it was shit. But looked at the trailers, it's like, oh, here's Jack and Jill. Here's Mr. Popper's Penguins. Which Mr. Popper's Penguins, it was there. It's, there's some stupid juvenile jokes. Jim Carrey does what he can. It is a kids' family film with a bunch of cute penguins. It, I would call it serviceable. I've seen much worse. I've seen much better. But it's not one of the worst movies ever. Jack and Jill, that made sense. Makes perfect sense to me. That's total. It is total crap. But Stan can't help himself complain. He keeps saying shit, and they don't even get into the movie. They just get through the trailers, and then Stan gets kicked out. Meanwhile, Randy and the mom get husband and wife get pissed at each other. Cause she's like, I'm tired of you doing all these stupid things. And then, like, the next week seems like everything's back to normal. And then you do another stupid thing. And then they both admit that they're not happy with each other. And then they're getting divorced. And then they're getting separated. And then you have the song, which I like the song. I've been afraid of changes. And maybe like you can look at it as almost Stan, maybe psychologically premeditate, like knew beforehand something wasn't right, something wasn't going to hit. They could have delved more into that aspect. Like they don't delve a lot. What I'm saying, they don't delve a bit more into maybe Stan knew before, but they could have delved into that more, I think, and that would have been more. Oh, in a weird way, not just him being older, but maybe he noticed some stuff that maybe affected him to being total cynical self. And then as it goes on, episode ends on a sad note, where the parents have been divorced. You have this great, sad but great song playing, and Stan's on his bed, and he's not with his friends, and it ends, and oh wow, that makes it more intriguing. That makes it more interesting. But I did read up about what the next episode is, and just like the bit with Kenny, and he's got this whole ordeal with his ability to not be able to die, and he wants to be able to tell his friends. These guys seem like Trey Parker and Matt Stone could be capable of some pretty decent dramatic stuff. I'd actually be curious of them trying out drama. Because people will laugh about that, but how many comedians have we seen that do really great dramatic work? Jim Carrey with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Robin Williams with Good Will Hunting and Dead Poet Society, and his performance, I think, What Dreams Become is great. Jim Carrey had a bit on The Truman Show. But it's a comedy show. It's South Park. It'd be stupid to say, now turn to a drama. But I think when you're in season 15, you can really shake it up with, okay, well, what if it's like part drama, part comedy? And that would be a change breaker. That would be a game breaking changer of a breaker 1-5er. It'd be a game changer is what the phrase I was thinking of. It would be a game changer. A cartoon like that, but it's also like part drama. But then you have the fear of really hurting your audience, destroying. And maybe if they did that, they would never gotten to still doing the show today. Maybe that would have killed the show. So financially, it was probably for the best that they went back to square one. I'm just saying, story-wise, character-wise, it'd be really interesting to keep that stuff going. But, that wasn't the case. Just like I said, just like the Kenny episode. Here it ends on an interesting note. But then it's just, we don't forget about it, and what's the phrase I'm looking for? We're just gonna ignore it. Because I think by the end of the next episode, the parents are back together again, and Stan almost has this sad look on his face of, like, what new stuff's going to happen next? No, go back to square one. I'm like, well, almost as if they were too scared. which is not something you really think of when you think of South Park. But I think the reason being, again, it'd be more dramatic and less funny. I mean, I would say I would like to see more of that, but I'm asking for, I know, a ridiculous notion, but so episode six of this, I did like the stuff with Butters and his reactions to certain parts of the situation. Episode seven, I like their take on total 1% cynicism, and I liked some bits of the little bit more dramatic, emotional finale. It just felt refreshing. It felt different. It felt fresh and new. But yeah, again, from after the next episode, they just backtrack on that. Oh well, it is what it is. But still, two pretty decent episodes. I would say I liked episode 7 a bit more. But with that said, thanks once again, Edward. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.